Okay, there we go, back again with another live stream. Let me quickly check everything. I also just did a post on X that we are live again. So amazing. Let me quickly head over to the news. Okay, amazing. Everything is working. Nice to have all of you guys back. I will do a quick post on X here because actually at the moment we have a lot of news coming out with the PPI data dropping in about 30 minutes. Then here we have that Ukraine allegedly just agreed on a peace deal with US officials. So basically at the moment we have some very interesting news coming out, and I'm just diving into all of this. So let me quickly check if indeed Bitcoin might be, maybe Bitcoin seeing a positive reaction here. Let me quickly check this. 5 minutes. Now Bitcoin is not doing as much yet. Pre-market. Oh, pre-market is down actually. Okay, interesting. But we have some stuff dropping now. In 27 minutes we have the PPI data dropping. Sorry if there's a little bit of noise actually close to my garden. They are busy with some work, and it might be making some noise, but I think it will be gone in a few minutes. We have a lot of news coming out actually. So give me a moment and then we will be diving in here. Your mic is pretty low. It's because sometimes it moves away from my mouth, but I can't be turning it on louder than it currently is. So if it's still a little bit low, just make sure to also tune up your own volume. Okay, let me quickly do this post. Okay. Perfect. Now I'm back and let's discuss what's happening here, because actually a lot of stuff is coming out because we have Besant speaking. We have a potential peace deal in the making, indeed, between Ukraine and Russia, or indeed an agreement from Ukraine on the first US offer, it seems like. Besant now also talking about Fed interviews. There could be 4 meetings between Trump and Xi next year. Fed Milan calls for a large interest rate cuts. So, of course, today with the PPI data, why this data is going to be important once again is for those rate cut odds for the next meeting, the next FOMC of the 10th of December. And now once again the rate cut odds are moving higher here. But Bitcoin keeps on moving down, which is looking very weak actually, I must honestly say. But this could change quickly, of course. Then that's basically it. Monetary policy is holding the economy back. Trump initiated the Xi call 30 days after the Korea meet. Okay, seems like that's it for what has been coming out now. And of course, like I just showed, this is the big news we just saw coming out. Ukraine agrees to terms of peace deal with the US official. We don't know all of the details of this news yet. I think it will be coming out in the next few hours here, so maybe during the live it will be coming out. But I think for now it's also going to be important to just focus on the upcoming PPI data in about 22 minutes. Xi Trump agreed peace in Ukraine must move forward. Okay, so 22 minutes, then we have the PPI data dropping. I will quickly show the data here. We look into the core PPI month over month, PPI month over month. We do want to see the PPI coming in lower than expectations, because that means that the US inflation is not increasing by that much, or it's just cooling down, like we saw the last PPI release. The last PPI release was all the way back at the 10th of December, so it is like the first big inflation data we've been getting in quite a long time. That is why it could be causing even more volatility this time, because it's going to be our first insight into US inflation once again. If we look into a very interesting metric called the trueflation, so basically the real US inflation, but measured on other metrics, we can see it actually over the last few days and weeks, the US inflation has been coming down. But since, of course, this PPI report is from last month, maybe this is not going to be what we see. We saw a big increase in US inflation basically since the April lows, and then we have seen a cool down over the last few weeks. So let's see if the PPI data is going to somewhat mirror this data here, but it is most definitely going to be interesting. Like stated, if it comes in lower than expected, we can see the rate cut us moving even higher, but now the market is actually in the process of basically fully pricing in this rate cut here. So looks very good in my opinion here. But I must say, on the peace deal news and both on the rate cut odds increasing, Bitcoin is not moving so slightly higher, now at 87.4k. Let me put on the last price here, so we can see the price reaction on the PPI data just in about 21 minutes here, since it could be quite a big one. A small update on my trading position here. Actually, my Ethereum is moving higher a little bit now, so my trading position is almost going to be break even. For the people that know about this position, we had been in quite a big loss, because basically we were catching the falling knife in this entire phase. Basically, if we are going to move a little bit higher, I will potentially be closing this trading position here, since I think it's getting a little bit risky if Ethereum is going to move so slightly higher. Also watch the daily update videos for that. But yeah, close to break even, looks good. If you also do want to trade yourself, make sure to come over to Lbank with the link in the description on this live stream. I will quickly show this. Here, coming over to the live stream, you can be claiming 50% deposit bonus, a $100 voucher, and to give a little bit more detail, a 2.5k deposit bonus, and a 5k generous refund on your first trading position, and this is still available now. So make sure to check it out if you do want to open your first trading position, for example, if you want to start trading, or if you're looking for another exchange with a nice bonus. Make sure to check it out here with that link in the description of that video, and also in the private Telegram group I just updated of this big news here. But of course, focus on the PPI now. This morning, of course, I did make another update video, so maybe some of you guys did already watch this morning's update video. But looking into Bitcoin, I think we are looking very oversold, and we have been looking very oversold for the last few weeks, and I have been calling for this since, of course, the 80k bottom. Since then, we have been moving ever so slightly higher. It was going to, when we were this oversold, it was the question from at what stage is Bitcoin just going to bounce, because now it's so oversold, it must happen in the near future. Then we dropped ever so slightly low to the 80k level, which was maybe a little bit unexpected. And from there on, it seems like Bitcoin is bouncing to the top side, and that makes a lot of sense, with having somewhat of a relief rally in mind for Bitcoin, like we have been discussing on the channel. It happens after breaking the 50 weekly moving average in Q4 during the post-halving years. We've seen it many times. Let me quickly check the chat here. Hi Crypto Ghost and everybody else. Hello. Hi Dutchies. Yeah, probably a lot of Dutchies. Let's hope PPI comes in lower. Indeed, let's hope so. Peace agreement. it seems like an first peace agreement or something like it, but we don't have all the necessary details yet to draw conclusions, I would say. Let's send everything indeed. Jay, nice to have you back. Yeah, we don't have all the details about the potential peace deal here, so we simply don't know. The Fed governors seem to be leaning towards rate cuts. U.S. Treasury. Russia is likely to reject Ukraine's changes to the peace deal. Okay. This is why the market is probably not doing that much here. We don't know all the details yet, but this is of course interesting detail. Ukraine has agreed to the full terms of President Trump's peace plan to end the war with Russia. Okay. Full terms of President Trump's peace plan. Oh, that's also what Kobayashi is stating now. Interesting. So, if that is indeed the case, and Russia then still doesn't want to accept, then it's not looking that good actually. Bitcoin moving up ever so slightly, 87.5k. The bottom is in, but I think we hit 93k. We will be coming back down around 83k to liquidate late longs, and then in December we are going to be bullish and pump. It's basically what you're saying. Let's see. I think, me personally, and I have been very vocal about this in all of my videos, I think that the general trend is down for Bitcoin. All of the indicators are showing us that we are potentially trading in a bear market. As long as Bitcoin is not going to break above the 50 weekly moving average again and make new all-time highs, that is going to be the case. I think since that could be something which breaks the 4-year cycle if Bitcoin just makes another all-time high now, because that is something which we have never seen before after losing the 50 weekly moving average on the weekly. So if that happens, the 4-year cycle is probably broken, and then we can draw conclusions based on that. But now all of the data suggests that indeed we are trading in a bear market, to be honest. It doesn't mean we can move up ever so slightly, because we do have a lot of liquidity laying above us here at the 90k level, at the 94k level, between 94 towards 100k. We have so much liquidity here. Billions in liquidity are laying here. So it's interesting. Prepare for more downside. Let's see. I think it would make sense for Bitcoin to continue to move higher a little bit from off here. Ethereum is actually doing so now. Ethereum is moving quickly. Let me also, this is the 5 monthly. Let's open the Ethereum chart. Look at this. Ethereum is moving again. Also the last price here. Let's see, 29.28. Let's put it besides Bitcoin here, so we can have a clear view over it on the PPI. PPI is going to drop in exactly 15 minutes from now. 15 minutes. I don't believe market makers will leave all of that liquidity there. Too much money for them to make. I don't think market makers do make money on liquidating longs, because it just goes to the other side of the order book. But we do usually see indeed markets moving to the place where the most liquidity is laying. That's indeed a fact. I'm seeing more news coming out now. I will also do a quick post. Bitcoin pumping now, 87.7k. Looks good. US private payrolls fell to... it's also because we have some data coming out now. Let me quickly show this to you guys. Here on the page. US private payrolls report is falling, so labor market weakening, which is increasing the chance of rate cuts. That's probably why Bitcoin's moving up ever so slightly. Okay. Okay. I just posted something, and that is what we just saw here. That Russia is likely to reject the agreed peace deal. But let's see. It is most definitely getting very interesting here, because now stuff can go really quickly, as we are starting to see all of the news coming out. Um, Month is about to end. Bitcoin will surely close the monthly candle above 19k. Let's hope so. Mm, ADP employment change actual. Okay, so labor market keeps on weakening. We should probably take a look into the rate cut odds. And then the PPI data in 12 minutes. Rate cut odds for December 82.9 now. So it keeps on moving higher. Bitcoin coming down back ever so slightly. Ethereum might be able to reclaim the 3k level here in the near future. We almost did it. Did this yesterday. Almost. But let's go. Finally something happening again. PPI 12 minutes. I see some new people dropping in, so let me quickly go over to the PPI data again, so I can show you guys what is about to be next here. Boom. PPI data. Looking into the PPI data coming in lower than expected. For the people that don't know, PPI is reflecting what is it? Reflecting US inflation, simply said. And we do want to see this coming in lower than expected, since cooling US inflation is going to give the Fed more room to cut rates. And what we are looking for are rate cuts, of course. Do rate cut means anyway, whenever we get a rate cut this year, market dumps even more. It's true, but on the other hand, the interest rates keeps on coming down, and over the long term perspective, it will allow markets to operate based on more liquidity. Since once you're getting rate cut, for example, at the 10th of December, it will take about 6 months to a year for that excess liquidity, which is basically getting ignited by a rate cut. It will take a lot of time for that liquidity to truly hit the market. So that's something we should not forget. It's not like an instant liquidity hit the market gets. No, it's just a long-term perspective, and that is what the markets are pricing in over the long term. So it's not always a reason to instantly pump to the top side like most people are sometimes expecting, or some people are expecting sometimes. It's not always the case, since it's a long-term thing. And definitely once you're getting to 1-2% interest rates, then it gets very interesting, of course. Maybe in combination with some QE, like we have been discussing on the channel. I think once QE is going to get started, it gets more interesting to look into altcoins once again. But up until that time, I will be very cautious with altcoins and altcoin positions. Then I'm talking about everything smaller than Ethereum and a few other large caps maybe. But for now, QT going to be ending at the 1st of December. Maybe we can see QE getting started in the near future. Let's see. But this data is also going to be important for that. Coming back down ever so slightly on the 5 minutes, of course, guys. So Febmiron concludes his comments, so he just stopped speaking. Okay, I think we might be done with this insane news spree we just got. Ukraine agrees to Trump-backed peace plan. But yeah, Russia likely to reject Ukraine change in peace deal. So that is something we should keep in mind. Whoa, I see all the views dropping very quickly here. Am I still live? Is everything going well? Yeah, everything is going well. Okay, I don't know why that is. But, oh no, it's a glitch. Lol. My stream just glitched like extremely hard. I'm sorry. Okay, with the PPI in about 8 minutes now, so let's keep our focus on it. Watching chat, it's funny how PPI month-of-month forecast is different on Forex, factory than trading economics. It could be different indeed. But that's why it's probably better to look into the consensus. Hi, Flotsam, hello. Nice to have you here. Yes, here I'm seeing some news coming out, like we already saw here. Fed must continue to cut rates. The labor market is too weak. Let's see now. Most definitely, if inflation can be coming in cooler than expected, it is going to be absolutely amazing. It's going to be somewhat of the perfect storm for more rate cuts. So that's of course what we are looking for. So that is looking very good, I must say. Are expecting Bitcoin to dump even more? Your TA is scary. Probably after this rally is going to end, it's going to dump more. But let's see how Bitcoin is going to perform, because I think it will continue its move higher. And then you're looking into some important levels, like for example that 50 weekly moving average. If Bitcoin is going to get rejected there, yeah, I think it will be dumping more. If not, if it breaks higher and make new all-time highs, yeah, the 4-year cycle is probably going to be broken. It really depends. Different charts, yeah. But for now, I do see a lot of signals in the market that we are going to see a bigger move still for Bitcoin to the upside. But it doesn't necessarily have to be like a bigger move than the 46k we've dropped in like the last 2 weeks. So yeah, I don't want to be overly bullish or something, because I don't necessarily think that this Bitcoin cycle will be continuing. Looking into all the data. 5 minutes. I'm on the 5-minute chart indeed. Oh, 5 minutes for the PPI. Indeed, 5 minutes before the PPI is going to drop. 5 minutes. And tomorrow we also have a quite interesting day, with PMI, initial jobless claims, or this PMI is not important actually. Initial jobless claims, and I don't know why I can't see this, but I think we also have... Oh, I thought we had more coming out than only the initial jobless claims. I thought we had some PCE data coming out tomorrow also. I think there will be PCE data actually. Maybe it's changed. I don't know. But we do have continuing and jobless claims here. So tomorrow some more labor market data. Sales month on month. Okay, I thought there would also be PCE, but I don't see it anymore. I will look into it later. But definitely the initial jobless claims tomorrow. And today, the PPI. 4 minutes left. What is it going to be? First inflation date since the 10th of September. So it is indeed very critical data. And we're looking into the rate cut odds, because that is why we're looking into all of this data. That is the most important thing here. Almost dropping. 3 minutes. 3 minutes. Let's go, let's go. PPI. PPI. I would just switch over to the notifications page, and there we can check the PPI together. Okay. Not much happening anymore. 2 minutes before the PPI. Let's see. Bitcoin. Not doing that much. Ethereum. Looking very strong actually here. Are we going to dump or are we going to pump? What do you guys think? Bullish or bearish CPI? Bullish or bearish CPI? PPI, I must say. No, I won't open the charts. I want to see the notification first, because I do want to explain what the PPI data means actually before we head over to the charts. I understand that at the charts you can see you can see how the PPI should have been looking like, but I think it's important to also understand the data and discuss it a little bit. Bullish. Okay, let's hope so. Let's hope so. 1 minute. PPI in 1 minute. What is it going to be? Let me go over here. 1 minute. Almost. We're seeing the first data coming in. Not the PPI yet. It should be coming out now. Okay, there it is. I think. Oh, not yet. PPI, actual 0.3 consensus, so like expected. PPI month over month, like expected. Core PPI is not there yet. Let me refresh this one. Core PPI is not loading yet. US PPI actual 2.7%, forecast 2.6, so it's rising actually. 2.7, core PPI 0.1, forecast 0.2. Okay, so core PPI dropped, or is coming out lower than expectations, and USI PPI year over year is coming in higher than expectations. Okay. US PPI month over month, actual 0.3 forecast. Okay, so it's basically coming out like expectations, we could say. Yeah, market is not doing that much on it. It's just like expectations. Most of it. Let me refresh this page. Well, it's actually not updating here. But like I currently can see it, most of it is coming out like expectations instead of the year over year. Here we have a good overview. United States core retail 0.3 previous. Yeah, like all the month over month data is coming in like expected, and the year over year data is coming in a little bit higher than expected. So that's what it is. I would say this is very neutral. It's not bad for the market. It's not It's not bullish for the markets. Ethereum is actually holding up stronger than Bitcoin here, which is interesting. Of course, on the 5 minutes, so it does not matter that much. Let me quickly do a post. Quickly doing a post on X also here from of the PPI. So year over year coming in higher than expected. Month over month coming in lower. Yeah, I think this is the most important data from all of it, because the month over month change, of course, interesting, but in the end, year over year is the most interesting. PPI inflation rise to 2.7% above expectations of 2.6, and your core PPI fell to 2.6 below expectation of 2.7. So it is basically, it is different than expectations, but it does match each other out. So I would say it's very neutral for markets. So inflation is not necessarily cooling down. It's also not moving up higher it's also not moving up higher than the expectations. So that's of course bullish. We just don't want to see it coming in much higher than expected. But it's also not cooling down. It's just very neutral data, I must say. Very neutral data. September's PPI. Okay, I'm also going to quickly post this. Oh yeah, and then I can give a good outlook on the altcoin season indeed. Okay, I just quickly posted on X. Okay, what should we discuss? So for last time, we just saw data drop. PPI inflation rise to 2.7% above expectation of 2.6. Core PPI inflation fell to 2.6 below expectations of 2.7. So that's what we just saw coming out. I think it's very neutral. Markets also not... Oh, actually now we are moving down ever so slightly on the data. But we should not see a lot of volatility here, because actually it comes out like almost like expected. Let me see if this is because of some other stuff. No, that's not the case. Okay. Then we are going to look for the last time in towards those rate cut odds, and then we can indeed discuss the outlook for altcoin season. Let's see if this will be loading here. Sometimes it's a little bit slow. We can also be looking into what Poly market is expecting now. 86% chance on Polymarks that the Fed's going to cut rates. So here it only keeps on increasing. So this means the data we just saw coming out might indeed be bullish. For altcoin season, we can dive to the chart. I also discussed this chart in all of the update videos, basically, all of the morning videos. What I currently think for potential altcoin season is very simple. I am focused on all of this data here on the channel with you guys because I think the next... Oh, the rate cut odds are coming up here. Almost 85% now. Rate cut odds coming up. I think all of this data is, of course, having a big effect on the rate cut odds, like you can see. So on the potential upcoming cuts also for this year and next year. That is, of course, going to have a big effect on the Federal Reserve monetary policy. And I think it's going to be very interesting also next meeting. What are they going to address about their balance sheet and what will be happening next with the Fed balance sheet? And Bitcoin is actually coming down here by a little bit. But for the Fed balance sheet, we can look into this chart. And basically, we have periods of quantitative tightening and quantitative easing. What we do know is that at the 1st of December, we have a period of quantitative tightening ending. That is already what the Fed did announce. And now the big question is going to be, when could QE potentially be getting started? Because I think that is going to be a much needed factor for altcoins to start moving higher and to truly see an altcoin season. I think there's more liquidity needed. Of course, lower rates are also going to help with that over the longer term. But QE and the Fed just pumping liquidity into the markets, basically increasing and building their balance sheet, that is going to be a bigger catalyst for altcoins, I think. And before we do know anything about that shift, I won't be touching altcoins as much. I will be very careful with altcoin positions because looking into the chart, just honest and not based on emotions, if you look into this entire move down, basically this downtrend we have been in for over the last years, we've seen this downtrend during a period of QT. So when the Fed is basically tightening and selling off the balance sheet, only moving down here in this period during QT, we've altcoins only seen moving lower and lower. And actually, if we look back into history in 2017 from 2019, here we also saw during QT that others versus Bitcoin, so the altcoins versus Bitcoin pairs, also started moving lower and lower. So I think we are seeing somewhat of a correlation there. And I heard the argument a lot that in 2017 we saw altcoins pump without QE. That is true, but we also had a lot less altcoins. Now we do have more altcoins. We have millions of altcoins, of course. During an altcoin season, not all of them need to pump, but I think there was just more liquidity needed to make this market cap move higher, most definitely compared to Bitcoin, for example, which did indeed move higher over the last year. So this is what I'm looking at for altcoins, and that's why I'm focused on the data, trying to see where the Fed is going to be adding next, what their monetary policy is going to be like, and when I do have a clear overview of that, I will possibly be scaling into altcoins once again. And then I'm talking about everything besides Bitcoin and Ethereum. Of course, Ethereum is also an altcoin, but I do view it a little bit differently than, for example, much lower cap altcoins. That's why I'm still in the trading position of about 23k here. And I would just keep that open, expecting that Bitcoin could be bouncing a little bit higher and that Ethereum could be following. If you do want to join me on that position, make sure to also claim this 50% deposit bonus and your generous refund on LBank. You can be claiming this with the link in the description on the update video. Deposit bonus up to 2.5k and the generous refund up to 5k. So make sure to come and check it out if you're getting interested in that. And then we can head back to the chart. This is also going to be a moment where you guys can drop some questions in the chat because we just saw the data coming out. We've seen the most important stuff. And now we can also discuss a few other things. So make sure to drop that in the comments now if you do still have some questions here. We have the full PPI data once again. Very neutral, to be honest. Very neutral. Okay. And rate cut odds keeps on rising. Poly market here 87%. Very good. Very nice. So now the data won't matter anymore that much, as long as it's going to be bullish, because we can be moving much higher. Yeah, maybe now we and that could change quickly. Maybe we can even see the odds of a 50 bps rate cut increasing, but that chance is going to be very low, I would say. Okay, let's see. It is most definitely very interesting. Back to Bitcoin. What are we doing here? Bitcoin is moving down. Nobody exactly knows why. Ethereum is also moving down, retesting 2.9k here. All right. What do you guys think of the data? What do we think of the data here? Tomorrow, of course, also initial jobless claim shopping, so I will be live stream for I will be live for those again. Let's dive into this. I think that's the only very important data for tomorrow. And then we have next week again, because Thursday markets will be closed because of Thanksgiving, and Friday we have an early close also because of Thanksgiving. So keep that in mind. Jobless claims for week average. Oh yeah, core PC on the 5th of December. Okay. So tomorrow only initial jobless claims, and I will be live streaming those again also. So make sure to come over there for. This dump is fake, maybe because actually we are dumping on a rate cut odds moving higher and good data. So I don't necessarily see why the market is dumping here. We can quickly look into the pre-market. Lots of noise in the garden. I'm sorry for that. S&P futures turned positive here. Nasdaq futures still down slightly, but mostly unchanged here. Dow futures very little bit up here, but very neutral. US stock market opening, it seems like, in what is it? About an hour. Very neutral looking here. Yeah, I don't think there's much more to discuss then. I'll be here tomorrow. Amazing. We've seen the data. Governor Miran says the US economy calls for large interest rate cuts. Rate cut odds for December have now jumped from 27% to 85%. In less than a week, market should recover soon. Thank you for the live. No problem, Jay. I will see you tomorrow again, or in tomorrow's morning's update video. Yeah, so I think today it's going to be interesting to keep our eyes on a potential US-Ukraine peace deal. If something like that is going to get reached, I will do an emergency live stream, most definitely, because I think Bitcoin could be, or markets could be pumping on that news. So I will keep my eyes on it for the next hours here today. Here we have some new. The US and Ukraine have drafted a 19 points peace plan, but left the most politically sensitive elements to be decided by the country's presidents, according to Ukraine's first deputy foreign minister. Okay. Okay. And PPI data is very neutral, so that's what we are currently looking into. Okay, guys, I think we discussed the most important stuff. Make sure to come over to Albank to claim your deposit bonus of 2.5k and your 5k generous refund. You can do so with the link in the description on the live stream here. Make sure to come and check it out. Also come over to the private VIP Telegram channel. I will do a quick update in this channel now for the community. Make sure to come over here if you do want more updates in real time. I think it's of high value also because of the 5 other personal traders and Crypto Rover himself, who's also updating in his own channel here. So make sure to come over if you're getting interested in that. And yeah, don't forget about the bonus on Albank. It is going to be claimable now, and you can also be using it a little bit later if you don't want to claim it directly here. But it is going to be a good offer, I personally think. So make sure to check that out. Do we have more to discuss? Let me quickly check. Bitcoin moving up so slightly. We dropped just below 87k here, but we are reclaiming it fast. We do have some volatility indeed after the data, but not too crazy volatility. Ethereum trade. Yes, guys. I think that's it. We discussed the most important stuff. If there's going to be Ukraine-Russia peace deal reached, I will be doing an emergency video or live stream. I will be here quickly if that's going to be the case. But yeah, I will just keep my eyes on the news. Also make sure to come over to X, because there I'm dropping the news much faster. Okay, guys, I want to thank you all for watching. Have an amazing evening, afternoon, morning. Depends on your time zone, of course. And then I will see you guys within the next update video tomorrow morning or the next live stream tomorrow afternoon. See you guys there.